So we're recording this on March 1st, 2024, and I'm not sure if I remember the first time that I interacted with you or hung out with you, but I know that definitely like 2019, 2020 era is when you and I first kind of came in contact with each other, and you always seem to be to me to be like a stand up guy. I'm very good friends with a lot of people in the um, security community, and former army military folks, and so like um, I don't want to say that that's something that uh, I seen in you, but I once I learned your background, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
so we're just talking about crypto and our journey. So I'll have a brief introduction for myself. My name is Quest. That's what my friends know me by. I've been involved in crypto since 2011, 2012 timeframe. I have some very good friends that were big into just kind of self-reliance and slash agorist or anarchist. And so I heard about Bitcoin a long time ago, and I was like, "What is this thing?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is really cool thing. It's like digital money, and it's a way that people can have their own money outside of the financial system. It's totally going to revolutionize how we do payments, how we do peer-to-peer transactions, and all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's really interesting. That's cool. I want to learn more about it." And back in the day, really there was only like the Bitcoin Talk forum message board and like a couple other things. It was very, very rudimentary. It was very, very basic. But I went in there and kind of created a user profile and looked around and was just kind of reading a lot of things. I didn't really comment much at all, but just reading on what people are talking about. Now in 2024, it feels like everybody has some sort of cursory knowledge about what blockchain is and kind of how it works, but it's really kind of evolved and grown and has had so many different iterations since 2009 release of the white paper and everything. Now I'm working on a privacy blockchain that's like cutting edge cypherpunk stuff that even right now, like very few people know about. Like they don't know about the capabilities of what's available on this blockchain, and they don't know that a lot of the stuff that is on Bitcoin and some other major kind of name brand blockchains are like fully transparent. There's not really a lot of privacy in there. There's not really a way of cloaking your identity. Everything's kind of full and open ledger. So curious to know how you got started learning about crypto and what was the genesis of you finding out, learning, and beginning to invest.
The Genesis story. Okay. So as you alluded to, my background is primarily in background in military, and then subsequent after that, after being in the Army and the infantry for 6 years, deployed twice, one deployment to Afghanistan, one to Iraq, and then got out in 2010. And since then, I've primarily focused just in work wise on security type jobs, be it bars, clubs, armed security for the government and government NGOs and other entities and agencies that the government works with, like Northrop Grumman, for example. And then I've done that through, in the northwest suburbs area of Chicago and Southern California, and now I've kind of made my way here.
Where's home for you?
My home is Long Island, New York,
Okay.
where I was born and raised until I was 20, and that's when I left for the service.
Mm-hmm. And where are
So
you living currently?
currently, I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Awesome.
Lovely Tampa. Yeah.
Gotta
So,
love Tampa.
oh yeah, absolutely. I've been here now for about 6 years, and I think this is where I'm probably going to primarily be. I believe it's definitely a growing hub for innovation and crypto and blockchain. There's block spaces as well as some other companies that are around here. CoinFlip, I don't know if you know about them. They are
Mm.
a CoinFlip is one of the first Bitcoin ATM companies. They had a storefront over in Sparkman Wharf that unfortunately got closed down recently, just before the bull market. Go figure. But
Wow.
yeah, it was actually a very first ever what's known as a crypto experience center.
Mm.
So they were putting on classes and teaching people about blockchain and
Wow.
Bitcoin and yeah, it was Actually, I actually applied to work there, and
Wow. What was it called again?
unfortunately, coin flip.
Interesting.
I was going to say, apparently, Mayor Jane Castor, even though I don't particularly like her politics, she is very pro Bitcoin and very pro crypto.
Hmm. Yeah, they want those crypto tax payments. They want those
Oh,
crypto
absolutely,
revenues. Definitely, yeah.
absolutely. As Miami mayor would probably tell you as well.
Right. Yeah. I know from living in Tampa, and that's how you and I knew each other. We know each other in real life, not just online. I know in Tampa, I want to say 2019, 2020, there was a footprint of, I think, two or three Bitcoin ATMs in the entire state. And
Oh, wow.
one of them was in Tampa. And I went there just out of curiosity, and it was just kind of like a hole in the wall gas station, the steel bars on the iron bars on the outside of the building, the whole nine, right?
Wow.
And so I walk in there, and I'm like, "Oh, you guys have a Bitcoin ATM? Oh yeah, yeah, it's over there in the back." And so I went and kind of messed with it and looked at it, and then once I got an idea, I was like, "Damn, that's a lot of fees that they're charging to use this little ATM machine." I was like, well, no, I'm good. Like I
Yeah.
took a couple pictures and got an idea of kind of what it was, and then I was like, all right, well, I mean, that's an option, but like it's going to cost me a lot, if I wanted to use this. But I was just curious, and that was just
Yeah.
kind of the beginning. I went to New York City, I want to say in 2016. And in 2016, there was about 2 dozen businesses in New York City that accepted Bitcoin, if you would believe it. And
Wow.
I went around, and I wish I would have. I'm very good at like documenting things. I do photo and video and stuff, and I wish I would have documented with a handheld camera or something all of these different businesses and my interactions, because I went to a place that was making empanadas. I went to a place that was making pizza. I went to a place that was making like a sit down kind of like formal restaurant. And they all
Hmm.
accepted Bitcoin, even like little bakeries and these little gift shops. So like even in 2014, the word was out, because if you're a vendor, if you own a business, you want to do whatever you can to cut down what you have to pay to Visa and all the payment processors, right? And
Oh,
so
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. It's highway
and
robbery.
yeah, and Bitcoin is like a great solution. And so if you want to be on the cutting edge of maximizing your profits and your revenues, if you're a business, it just makes sense that you would use something that has very low fees, that's very easy for you to be able to transact business with your customers, and something that's a growing market. So I've definitely been involved in and done some travel around the globe too about crypto and people's usage of it. I know a lot of people talk about El Salvador, but I went to Singapore in 2018 on a work trip,
Oh,
and there's a good size hub of people in Singapore that are working diligently on blockchain and on Bitcoin.
absolutely. Singapore is going to, it already is becoming a major, well, it's a major financial hub in general,
Mm-hmm.
but for cross-border payments, but it's absolutely welcoming blockchain and digital assets with wide open arms.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So tell me about what got you started. Who was the introduction? What transpired, and what drew you into learning or investing in crypto?
So it was around October or November of 2020, and I was a frequent guest to a place, as you may know, as Mad Chiller World, which was a kind of like an after party spot that I would go to because I was doing security at the Ritz in Ybor
Mm-hmm.
City, and then I would go there after I would be off work. I also kind of served as a de facto security person there because they actually didn't really have any security there. So when I got done, and I was having a good time, but I was also holding it down over there. So while there, I met through other people, a man that I'll just name his first name, Ian,
Mm-hmm.
and he and I we hit it off pretty well. I actually really don't have very many people that I call actual like friends.
Right.
So he and I we hit it off very well, and we actually started like hanging out and like going. We would do like guy dinners. We would go to nice fancy restaurants. Because
Cool.
he was very well off, and
Yeah.
he was already very well off, and so we we were at another person's house. It was like a house party, and
Hmm.
the topic of the monetary system came up, and just certain things, and he he was starting to talk about it, but kind of was a little more reserved because, as you may know, after a certain amount of time in this space, you start to become a broken record. People don't really want to hear it anymore,
Right.
and now here I am, a few years later, I can kind of get how he was feeling at the time, and so I kind of I kind of pried a little bit. So he saw my interest in it, and he began to tell me, what the heck is actually about to happen.
Yeah.
And um,
So Ian was a
uh,
visionary.
yeah, and over the course of the years, things he would say back in 2020 have started becoming true,
Yeah.
and everything. It was really wild, and that helped reinforce me, because one thing about me is I am not a saver. I've never been a saver. I've never been an investor. I've never been the one to put money away. I would usually money would go through my fingers like water or sand. And so something clicked in me when he started talking about it, because to jump back right quick, when I got out of the military in 2010, I had heard about Bitcoin, and immediately in my mind, it's almost I intuitively knew, like, at its core, what it was.
Hmm.
And I didn't know at the time, but because all the FUD was out. Oh, it's difficult to get. Oh, it's just for nerds. Oh, it's going to go to zero, because that's
Right.
when it was very. We're talking about a few bucks. It was not very very high in price.
Hmm.
So there was the FUD really got to me, and I just brushed it off. So now fast forward, he began to tell me about XRP and the XRP ledger and cross border payment solutions.
Hmm.
That's really where my base is at. And that's probably the reason why CoinFlip didn't hire me, was because I didn't really know too much about the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah.
I just knew more. I knew more about others, that
Right.
the more emerging altcoins and alternative markets that are out there. I'm sorry, alternative networks.
Hmm.
And so basically, over the course of about a month or two, because I started actually investing in the middle of December of 2020. My first buy was $80 of XRP, and it was actually about a week prior to when the SEC came down on Ripple for selling unregistered securities, saying that XRP is a security. So I mentioned that because this was so early in my infancy, and of learning. So I dug my heels in and was like, I'm going to keep learning about this, because I got money and I got skin in the game.
Right.
I wanted to,
So
I
is it
wanted to,
was it a sunk cost fallacy at that point, do you think? Or was it really something like, you know what, I need to learn everything I can about this investment I just made?
what do you mean by the first again?
Oh, the sunk cost fallacy is like, all right, well, I already have money into it, so I might as well, look into it and learn more because I already have money and I don't want to lose that money that I put in.
Oh, well, I guess it's a mix between that, but mainly because the way his conviction was about it,
Hmm.
and just the way he conveyed and articulated what's going to happen, it all made sense to me. And just the way he explained it really drove me to find out more about it. And that just kind of, and the more I looked into it, the more I got involved and more in depth. And unfortunately, it was at the time in the market where we were very close to the top. Around that time, we were
Yeah.
moving up, and I think we were at like a local top or something like that, and we were about to hit into the 60s, into the 60Ks and everything. And I don't know about things going down. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to 100K with
Right.
Bitcoin and da da da.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just how the origin started. And then about 6 months later, I was like, I need to get formally, trained and schooled on this. So I found an online course
Hmm.
through the Wharton School of Business. So I did that, passed with flying colors.
Nice. I mean, I'm sure that
Then
wasn't free. What did that cost you?
that was around 6,500. I'm sorry, $3,500.
Yeah. So I mean, you really did your investment and invest in yourself, and you're educating yourself. That's noble.
Yeah, because I realized that the stock market train has basically left, and I was 16 years old when or 14 or 15 when the dot-com and the internet boom happened. But I remember that, and I remember thinking I should invest in this, but I'm 14. I don't have money for nothing, and my family,
Hmm.
we weren't lower class but we were like middle-ish class, middle class at the time, in that time frame, but it was something that I observed, and I saw it for what it was, and I knew it was going to happen. So when this opportunity came, I knew that I had to jump on it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you know what? I'm gonna make at least one of the right calls in some of these coins. so
Right.
and I kind of saw Bitcoin as and Ethereum as kind of having their time in the sun already. And
Hmm.
yeah, you're gonna have an ROI, but it obviously altcoins are kind of the way to go if we're looking to actually get wealthy.
Right. So tell me a little bit about what Ian's predictions were and how did they come true?
He foretold the lawsuit. He knew the lawsuit was going to happen, and it happened, and he knew that we would beat it. And that
Specifically
was
the
one of the
Ripple
big,
lawsuit, right?
yes,
Got it.
specifically the Ripple lawsuit. That kind of in and of itself did it for me, but also, just certain things, and I'm having a hard time putting my finger on some of them, but just I was getting validated on the way, and it got to the point where I didn't really need that anymore. But you know, and then unfortunately, he and I had a falling out due to a misunderstanding of sorts, but that's neither here nor there. But
And that
unfortunately,
happens
we
with
don't
certain
really.
friendships, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it really was quite unfortunate because I did not want it to happen, but there was an unfortunate miscommunication of events. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was really I really am saddened by it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I have friends that
um
I'm no longer friends with, and it's like, yeah, I wish I could go back to that time, but like, it's changed and it's not
yeah,
going back. Yeah.
and honestly, it kind of was a good thing because he was very close-minded to other chains.
Hmm.
So by that kind of like made me a little bit at first closed off. I was just mainly in XRP and XLM and nothing else. And then I broadened my horizons after watching certain YouTube personalities and such, or influencers, if you will.
Hmm.
And although I don't like the term influencers for the ones that I would watch because they were more of like news aggregators and would just kind of put the information out there
Hmm.
specific to certain chains and certain networks rather than injecting their own bias and personal opinions. And
Yeah.
if they ever did, then they would say this is my opinion, and
Right.
stuff like that. So
They're not over there just editorializing and just saying, okay, this is my take on this and my take on that. It's like, okay, here's the information
right.
as it sits, and you do whatever you will.
Right. Exactly. So just keep on keeping on, and I was very verbose in talking to people at work at nausea. It got to the point where they were like, "TomTom, you gotta stop talking about crypto." like,
Yeah.
like nobody really wants to hear it. We would be like really really slow at the club, and they would be like, I'd be like, anybody want to talk about crypto? They'd be like, oh my god! This all of a sudden they get all busy. All of a
Yeah.
sudden they got things to do.
All
so
right.
yeah,
but you were passionate about it. So like that's something that like, we talk about things that we're passionate about. So that just comes with the
Yeah, and those things don't come to me very often. The passion, being in the military, the protection of this country and its countrymen and women, and being at the Ritz, being in charge of the security team there and having the responsibility of, everybody in there having a great time and being
Mhm.
safe. Like that was a passion of mine. So to have this to be at the same level as that is really something. And now that we're obviously entering into the bull market, and all signs are pointing to green, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. We talked about your origin story, talked about Ripple. So tell me about the coins that were really that you were drawn to initially, and maybe what you're holding currently.
So yeah, again, XRP and XLM were the first two that I delved into and learned about and everything. Then beyond that, I started finding more about Algorand, because, and I hate to skip back once again, but before taking that course at Wharton, I was watching all of the open courseware from MIT on YouTube. That's actually taught by the now chairman of the SEC, Gary Gensler.
Hmm.
So, and he spoke about that. That was another validation too, is that in those videos he did speak about XRP, and then another one was Algorand, that was created by Silvio Macaulay, and he also, I mean, I won't go too much into it, but about zero knowledge proofs, and that technology. So I saw the writings on the wall with that,
Hmm.
and so Algorand was another one that I kind of went into next, and then actually when I was at the club, I heard from somebody to look into HBAR, or the Hedera network. And so that's another one of my big holdings. And they have great solutions for carbon emission monitoring and issuing
Hmm.
of carbon credits. That's going to be big, the carbon market, as well as other solutions on the Hedera network. And the Hedera network, which I really like about that, is that they have a governing council, and the governing council members, they rotate out every 2 years.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a 1 year lease, and then they sign onto the LLC, so they're on there, and then after the first year, if they want to renew, and then after the second, then they have to rotate out.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. I've learned a lot about governance structure and governance model over the years for these different blockchains because we all are familiar with what a DAO is. And I think that
Right.
the thing for blockchain, the evolution going forward is there's going to be things that are beyond the DAO. So the standard corporate structure is, incorporation or an LLC, but I think moving forward, the things that you're going to see are, DAOs and OAOs, optimal autonomous organizations are really kind of the
Right.
cutting edge way of having government structure of something like within a blockchain.
Another one that I'm now heavily into is Casper. Casper is focusing on the tokenization of everything,
Mhm.
and also now, apparently, and this is new. Just a couple days ago, they came out with, they're going to be having an AI solution. I don't want to speak too much on it because I kind of can't remember everything about it,
Mhm.
but Q3 of this year, it's going to be released. It's been in the works apparently since 2018, and I actually just bought more Casper. Anticipation of this. Also, what I really like about Casper is it was birthed in the middle of this bear market, so it hasn't even experienced any kind of bull market yet, which
Interesting.
is great. That's one thing that I look for. There was another one.
So it's
Uh,
fine. I mean, we got XRP, we got
yeah.
XLM, we got Algorand. I'm familiar a little bit with that. HBAR, Hedera, Casper. Tell me what you know or what is exciting from what you learned from those MIT courses about zero knowledge proofs.
Well, what I really like about it is that you don't have to sacrifice any of your actual personal information to get validated exterior from exterior networks.
Hmm.
So they know that, hey, this is him, without having to reveal like anything serious or anything private about your information.
Right. So, have you ever heard of any blockchains? You probably know of one very popular one, but do you know of any blockchains that use zero knowledge proofs?
Yeah, just Algorand. I know that there's a bunch down coming down the pipeline. I know
Mhm.
that they just had ETH Denver, and I know ZK Solutions are what was definitely involved in there. And I've been hearing whispers here and there, but I have not focused on any in particular. Do you happen to know of some that are exciting?
Yeah, I do. And then before we talk about that, tell me a little bit about ETH Denver. Did you go to that?
No, but as I may have told you, I was in Denver just a few weeks prior, and it's a beautiful, beautiful city. Beautiful
Yep.
city.
Yeah, just to note, that's my hometown. I was born and raised there, and I moved out of there and left to Florida, Tampa area in 2009, but got strong, deep roots in the whole Denver metro area, and it's a beautiful place to go and visit. It's grown and changed so much since I even left. So,
Got some real thin air up there, buddy.
oh
got
yeah,
some
you
got
ain't
some.
kidding. So I take
Woof.
friends up to Trail Ridge Road. That's his Rocky Mountain National Park, and
Hmm.
that park, you go up to the top of that thing, and you really got to be careful about how you exert yourself, because even just going for a
Oh my
walk,
God.
you might pass out. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We were definitely having to take a couple deep breaths every time we would go for a walk or something. Be like, oh boy.
yeah. So zero knowledge proofs. So my first foray into crypto is Bitcoin. This is 2011, 2012 time frame. After that,
Mm.
I was a big supporter of Ethereum, and I bought a shit ton of Ethereum between like 2011 and 2017. Um, I accumulated crypto and I sold crypto at 2017. And I was telling everybody, all of my friends from that period of time in between, hey man, you should really look into blockchain. Hey, just take a little bit of your savings and put it into blockchain. I'm
Hmm.
telling you, this is going to be something big. This is the future. So all of the people that I know in my friend group and my networks, I was the guy that told them first about Bitcoin, blockchain, or any of that stuff. And so
Wow.
I've made my friends very wealthy, and as a result, the ones that took my advice and just said, "Hey, I'm going to take 5% of my savings. I'm going to take 10% of my holdings. I'm going to take 15% of what I put in my 401k or whatever, and I'm going to put it in this other thing." So
Hmm.
my friends loved me because I had not inside knowledge, but I just had that information that said,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is a little bit avant garde. This is a little ahead of the curve, but I feel like this is an opportunity that is like overdue." And so zero knowledge
Well,
proofs, I got
yeah.
involved into a blockchain called Pirate Chain, which the Pirate Chain community is probably one of the most vibrant, most fun, most cool communities that you will see in all of crypto. I know Ethereum has a really good, vibrant community, and I've been involved and I've seen a lot of different activities there. But I'm telling you, if you want to have fun and you're a little bit of a rebel, you're a little bit of a pirate, the Pirate Chain community is definitely awesome for you. And the cool thing too is right now Pirate Chain is trading at maybe 20 cents per coin or something
Interesting.
like that. But like it is all zero knowledge proof. So Zcash is the one of the first big blockchains that came
Ah,
out with zero knowledge proof. So Zcash Pirate Chain is a fork of Zcash, and Zcash what has optional privacy. So Zcash has zero knowledge proof. I'm trying to remember if it's like the establishment of the wallet or if it's confirmation. I'm not super technical on it, but they have optional privacy for Zcash. Well, what Pirate Chain did was they took a fork of Zcash and they made all of the optional privacy mandatory. So it's all zero knowledge proofs on the blockchain. It's all, you don't have the ability to be able to see anybody's balance or any transaction information within Pirate Chain. And
okay.
they now have mobile wallets for all different phone operating systems. They have wallets for any type of your computer, PC, home operating systems. I've mined Pirate Chain before. I mine other cryptos as well. But yeah, right.
Interesting.
I'm looking at the chart right now. It's 19.3 cents. So it's 19 cents per coin for Pirate Chain, and definitely by
Mm.
far the most robust zero knowledge proof of blockchain that you will find out there.
What was the all-time high on that?
Let's see here. I'm looking at the chart right now. Let's see the all. It was in 2021, and it was 12.99, almost $13.
Oh,
April
jeez.
23rd,
Oh,
2021.
oh, it's a couple days after my birthday.
There you go. Yeah, mine too. You and I are both April
Interesting.
babies. I think we realized.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And speaking
Yes.
of
Yeah.
that, I'm coming back to Florida, so you and I will talk offline. I'll be able to find out sometimes where you and I could hang out and have a coffee or break bread or something because I'm looking to get back to
Absolutely.
Florida for next month.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're totally going to do that.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So let's continue. You talked about the different things that you were holding. Tell me about a time, and we all had this, right? Tell me about a time. What wiped you out? What wrecked you in crypto?
Ah, oh, the L's. Gonna
The L's. You got to
talk
take
about the
that L.
L's. I got well as hard as we all try, and boy did I try because I was like I'm just gonna focus on XRP and XLM. That's it, and I'm not gonna get wrecked. I'm just gonna hold, and then
Right?
so I'm not sure if maybe you've heard of a network called the Pocket Network.
Mm-mm. No.
So they do it's like an API solution bridging web 2 to web 3 basically.
Hmm.
I forgot the technicals of it, so I'm not going to pretend I remember or anything, but that's basically it's an interoperability play.
Got it.
Apparently now they're delving into AI, but I was involved in the project um before it like got onto exchanges and everything, so the VC money was there and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I think I put like 5500 into
Mm-hmm.
it altogether. And once it hit the markets, the price plunged, and it just kept going down and down and down. The all-time high was like $3 and 60 something cents or 30 something cents, and it went all. I sold at like 12 cents. Yeah, so I took like a 4K L on that. That
Wow.
was my that was my biggest loss. That was my biggest loss.
What did you learn
Obviously,
from that?
well, I learned that when a lot of projects come out, they don't stay up. They normally do come down. And and I got out when I probably could have stayed in, but I didn't know how much further down it was going to go. Turns out it went down to like 6 cents or something like that, and it hovered and ranged there for a while, for about almost 2 years. And the main thing with that was they ran validator nodes,
Mm.
and so I had my pocket staked in the nodes. So the goal was to get um, recurring payments from validator rewards or node rewards. And so I kind of just decided to cut the sling on that, and I was like, you know what? Because another thing that I look for when I look at these projects is what I like to call, and I know it's a real word, but this may not be exactly that, but future proofing. I try to look for projects that they're not going to have something that's going to be competing against it, and they're not going to have something that after a while the tech is going to be no good. So I'm not saying that there is going to be like a pocket killer out there or something, but with what they do, I could definitely see there being other projects that may, and I don't want to have to, think too hard on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just decided to kind of cut my losses on it. I thought about getting back into it because now it's starting to move again. It's now at 23 cents, I believe.
I
I
was
keep
looking
a
at the
pulse
chart.
on it. Yeah, I keep a pulse on it. it's been ranging between 22 and 26 cents the past like week or so.
Mhm.
I'm honestly probably not going to get back into it because I just have other things that I know have very rock solid partnerships and that are absolutely going to leave a mark and that they're going to be around for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, so I look at the chart. It started at $1.56, and then it just goes down. It's a
Yeah.
little spike back up, like over $1, and then it's just a fucking trough. So
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
I got I got
Yeah.
wrecked too. So let me just tell briefly my wreck story. It's not as dramatic as Pocket, but like so,
Mm.
I got involved. I got involved when Binance first came online, and
Mm.
I bought Binance coin at $8 a coin, and I bought a shit ton of it.
Mm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
in that period of time, I was like, okay, I got all this Binance coin, but like, what else can I do with it? Because like, I was making fucking shit ton of money just like fucking holding, buying, and holding that shit. And so I was like, all right, well, guess what? Guess what I invested in? Guess what fucked me up? XRP.
Uh, oh,
XRP
okay.
was XRP was one of the fucking cryptos that I invested in that like I lost not
Was
immediately. Yeah, so I I bought in like 2018. I want to say I bought it like 50 cents, maybe 49 cents, and it went down to like 23. And
mm-hmm.
I didn't I learned my lesson where like my gut instinct is never wrong, and my gut instinct was like, you probably shouldn't do this, but you're just following the hype. So go ahead and see what happens. And I got fucking. I didn't believe enough in the projects at that point where I was just like, I'm just gonna stick with it. And it wasn't a substantial amount. It wasn't 5K, 10K, but I want to say it was probably about 3K. And I was just
Okay.
like, well, I fucking learned my lesson. I got my irons and several other pots. I'm making money. I'm not losing on the whole. So I'm gonna cut my
Right.
losses and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that must have been such a wonky time because I had talked to some people about, you know, how the market was moving back when it was only a handful of coins. And, and it sounds like that's kind of the time frame sort of when it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally understandable. I started accumulating at 18 cents and I think I kind of stopped when we got into the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you believe where it's going to go, you could be accumulating now. But
Right.
it all depends on your risk appetite, how long
Right.
you want to hold for, all that jazz. For me, those core two or three are going to be long-term holds, so it doesn't really even matter to me because like I said, I was buying at 40 and then it went back down to like 20 something. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. and then
Yeah.
and then it went to 9. Then I did experience a short like local top, which was something like 91 cents, like, or basically a little bit over $1 after the lawsuit ended.
Yeah.
We saw a nice
Which
little
was this
pump,
year,
but then
right? Late last year.
yeah, July. It was July 14th.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, a very, very pivotal day I won't forget.
Right.
But and that case, it was very important for the entire crypto market. It's
Right.
not just related to XRP.
No, it's
So
precedent setting. So yeah, it's very important
oh,
for everything.
absolutely, absolutely. They want to minimize the hell out of it and make it seem like it's not that big of a deal, and they're glossing over it, but it's a very big deal. It's already being mentioned and used as case law.
Right.
So
Yeah.
in other cases, so yeah.
My whole vision and philosophy on crypto is very different from yours, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. You and I come from two different kind of views and experiences on how we view crypto, and so one of these things that I like to have conversations like this is because like we can be very siloed even in our own little crypto echo chamber. And so I don't know if you've experienced this, but like I am involved in the privacy coin space. And so there's a lot of, kind of us versus them, or like, very kind of a tribalistic kind of mentality. And I'm not that type of person. I'm not a tribalist. I make friends with all different kinds of people in all different walks of life. So I don't try to build walls. I try to build bridges wherever I go. And so for me, it's not very natural to say us versus them kind of stuff. But like I see that a lot because Bitcoin Talk Forum, that stuff was there when they were talking about other coins besides Bitcoin. Before it was just like the one Bitcoin. They're like, oh yeah, if you ever created a spinoff, blah blah blah. And I
Oh
invested in
yeah.
Monero, like not at the start, but really close to the start of Monero, because my whole goal in crypto was I wanted to have anonymous peer-to-peer cash. And that is why I got into privacy coins. So Monero was the first one, and it did good for a long period of time. I still like my heart is still set on like hoping that Monero is going to be great, but a lot of the brain power that was in Monero and behind Monero has actually left Monero. A lot of people don't know that, but like
Mm.
the people that have developed and established Monero and made it what it is now, and $4 billion market cap, all this stuff, are in other projects now. And one of the projects that I'm working with primarily is called DERO. Have you ever heard of DERO before?
I have heard of DERO. Yes, I have.
So tell me what you know about DERO.
I just all that I really know is that it's a privacy coin,
Mhm.
much like Monero. That's really all I know. I know it's just in that basket. But it's
Mhm.
it's really great to hear you say that about being siloed and that you don't like that, and the tribalism
Right.
is really a problem.
What's
To
your experience on that?
so on the Bitcoin side, you have that one like either like Vietnamese or Asian guy who likes to like burn $100 bills, and says Bitcoin is the one and only. I forgot his name, but
I know you're talking
not
about, yeah.
Mac. Yeah, yeah. So they have that on the Bitcoin side, and then you also have that a little bit. You had it more in the past, but on like the XRP side and everything, you had people that were being like that. In the beginning, I was kind of like that because Ian was kind of making me like that. Because he was like, no, like there's not going to be any others. Like all these coins are going to go away, and there's only going to be XRP. Like literally, that's what he was saying. So
Right.
like, but then then you started having people like Brad Garlinghouse, who is the Ripple CEO, who has said almost verbatim what you just said about having us being siloed, and having Trey. He said there's no place for tribalism in crypto. He's like, that's the reason why we're not succeeding as a whole, is because they're playing off of this, and we're saying no, our project's better, no, our project's better. And the way he comes at it, and the way that I also share in his view, is that rising tides rises all ships, and that's going to be what we're obviously going to start seeing now in the bull market. And the projects that have solid fundamentals and tokenomics, and that actually solve real world problems and with utility, are going to shine, and they're going to outperform everything else. Yeah, I wish I would have looked more into privacy coins before talking to you, so I could speak a little more intelligently on it. But that's why I fully agree with you that us having the backgrounds in the different backgrounds that we do, I believe I can learn a lot from you. And I mean, I don't know how much you can learn from me, but I any information sharing is going to be great. I know that this is going to be a good little duo here.
Exactly. And so with privacy coins, they have a specific purpose and function in the market. And I'll tell you up front, privacy coins are not the ones that are going to 10x you, 100x you, 1000x you. They are
Mm.
there for people that want the functional utility of fucking being left alone, and being nobody fucking needs to know who I'm transacting with, what I'm transacting, the amount, or what my account balance is. If you want, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, do you see that as a pro for the future and moving forward, or do you think that that's going to start being demonized, and be, because I could already hear institutional legacy organizations and agencies and what have you, especially like the Bank of International Settlements, and everything. They're going to want to know where money is coming from.
Right. So privacy coins, where did they come from? And what is the ethos and the background of it?
Yeah.
Privacy coins come from the cypherpunks of the 70s and 80s. And the cypherpunks were people that were programmers, coders, not public persons, but people that just wanted to be able to have a solution to be able to transact peer to peer and something that would work as digital cash. Monero was the first experiment of it. If you read Satoshi's writings, Satoshi wanted to have a privacy aspect of Bitcoin, but didn't implement that in the first iteration of Bitcoin. But Satoshi wrote about it in multiple occasions. So the people that are working on privacy coins right now, they are dead set on, I don't give a fuck about your system. I don't give a fuck about the banking system. All of that stuff is legacy and is going to die and should die. And what we are focusing on is rebuilding the world as the way we want to see fit. We're going to rebuild the world that we want to live in. Rebuild a world that is not tracked, traced, and database in every step that you make online. Rebuild the world to say, I can interact and transact with whoever, but I don't need KYC. I don't care about your regulations. Your regulations don't apply to me. You know why? Because I created this own blockchain. I created it as crypto, and you have no jurisdiction to govern or have any say over what I created. You created that fiat system. You fucking own that whole fiat system, and we have to abide by your rules whenever we use your fucking fiat system. I'm okay with that. We're building our own system, and we're moving forward regardless of however regulation that you think you want to try to impose on me. Try to break our encryption, and then we'll talk.
So, do you? I thought I heard in there, at least in the beginning, that you said something like, that all is going to go away. Do you really believe that that is feasible? That the actual, like, all of the old system will go away, especially with the partnerships that the old legacy institutions are having with crypto?
So, do you think that people that are very powerful want to give up that power?
Oh, of course not. So
Right.
they're assimilating and they're integrating.
Right, exactly. They're co-opting, and
Right. It was, yeah.
that's what VC money is. That's what That's what a lot of these hype coins that are about. They're about making crypto look bad because crypto itself is just an idea. It's just mathematics. It's just encryption. But as far as the projects that are coming out that actually have encryption, that are actually fully encrypted, that are non-transparent, that do have some sort of layer of privacy to them, how many of those exist? Very, very few, right? So the whole campaign, as far as media and demonizing crypto itself, you've seen it. You were involved in crypto and learning about it in 2019 and 2020. All of the press,
Right.
all of the media was saying, "Oh, this is terrible. It's not real. It's not going to last." Blah blah blah. Right? So you have 4 years of experiencing this. It's even that much worse when it comes to privacy. This is taboo. This is against the rules. This shouldn't be cool. This shouldn't be talked about. You shouldn't, talk about privacy coins in an open forum because everything and every news organization or media has tried to demonize it. Look at who their heroes are, who their leaders are, and who they like, and blah blah blah. And they're trying to do everything they can to try to demonize it. Why? Because it's a threat to their establishment. It's a threat to their authority. It's a threat to them being able to track, trace, and database everything that you do online.
Right. And I guess because I've, and again, it's only been 4 years, but there were, I don't know if you know who Tim Draper is, but he's very pro crypto, but he hears all the bankers shrieking to that. They try to, no, it's nothing, it's nothing. and then they laugh at you, right? It's the whole classic, they ignore you, and they laugh at you,
Hmm.
then they
Ridicule
fight
you.
you.
Hmm.
Now they ridicule. Then now how I feel is I feel we're in the fight phase right now. We're in the fight phase, but then there will come a time where after, and now we're seeing the media. If you I don't know if you watch any CNBC or anything like that, but now they're having the media roll out, and because now we have the Bitcoin ETFs, and
Right.
now you got Larry Fink, president CEO of BlackRock, who has changed his tune. I will say this about Larry Fink: at least given new information, this man has changed his mind. Now you have Jamie Dimon, who he'll probably say to his dying breath that crypto's garbage and it's only for money laundering and terrorism and all that stuff like that. The attitude is changing, I feel, and I think that there's going to be an integration, and I feel like privacy coins, like you said, will kind of be like doing their own thing. But do you see that as like an underbelly kind of a thing? And like, I guess, what would be the real point of having privacy coins?
Couple things. So, Jamie Dimon, I'm a former gold and silver investor. So, I invested heavily in gold and silver in the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s. And so, I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you firsthand that Jamie Dimon had a fundamental role in suppressing the silver market, and how it's being suppressed today
Oh yeah.
is directly connected to Jamie Dimon, Chase Bank, and a lot of other major global banking conglomerates. So the price of gold and silver is manipulated and modified and controlled, similar to what the crypto market is being controlled by now. So yeah, there's definitely many different interests that are involved, but privacy coins functionality or usability is people that want to have peer-to-peer transactions that nobody knows about, that nobody knows your account balance, and that you can transact privately without anybody knowing about. That is a functional tool of people that want to be left alone and that want to be private. You could choose to be private or you
Mm-hmm.
could choose not to be. It's really up to you. And there's lots of different coins out there, millions of different coins, I think, now on the crypto landscape, right? So privacy coins are very niche. They're not for everybody. They're not something that I recommend as like an investment tool. I'm not a person that
Mm-hmm.
goes and invests in different coins, but what I do use is that I use privacy coins to be able to build an ecosystem of unstoppable applications that no government, no entity can ban or try to control or destroy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yes, I definitely see where there will be a want, definitely a want, but also probably needs. Because yeah, like certain things, I don't think I personally don't like that. If somebody has my XRP address, that they can look at my history, all my NFTs, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a particular fan of that.
Right.
So yeah, like yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think
And
that's good.
and this is the thing too. We're in March 1st of 2024. Everybody knows that CBDCs are coming. Everybody knows that social credit score is coming to the US and the Western world. Everybody knows
Mm-hmm.
that. What are you doing to prepare for that? What are you doing to mitigate for that? For me, I know that like I have assets in different groups and different commodities and classes, and I know one of the classes of the assets that I have are in privacy coins, just in case shit hits the fan, just in case you can't, my Bitcoin is now tainted, and now I can't withdraw that Bitcoin or exchange that Bitcoin because it was used on the dark web somewhere, sometime that I wasn't even involved with. And that's the thing too, like crypto
Yeah.
coins are not fungible anymore. Ethereum is not fungible. Bitcoin is not fungible. One does not equal one anymore. It did at one period of time, but it's not that way now. And now more
Right.
and more regulation and more of this voyeurism into chain analysis and all of these different things The more that that comes to
Mm,
be, the less that you have fungibility of crypto and different blockchains.
No, I completely agree. I agree.
So, I mean, maybe I'm paranoid, but maybe I'm ahead of the curve. I don't know. I mean, time will
Well,
tell, right? Time will tell.
yeah, well, I think people, even if they don't know about privacy coins, I think they think that doing crypto is doing that by default. Like, oh, this is going to be the thing to save that from the privacy, but they don't realize how open it is.
Right. And that's the thing
Because
too. So what, let me just tell you about my learning curve. So I got involved with Bitcoin back in the day and I believed what people told me about Bitcoin in 2011 and 2012. They told me that it was private. They told me that it was secure. They told me that it was
mm-hmm,
encrypted. And because I believed them, I didn't know that. I didn't validate that. I didn't verify that. I believed them. I fell victim to a false sense of security. I fell
yeah,
victim to transacting with this person and that person and didn't realize it was all on a public, open fucking ledger.
yeah,
And so, like, your education and my education is so important. If you want to get involved in this and you want to really invest in these different things, you need to educate yourself. You need to do a deep dive.
absolutely.
You need to do some homework. And before you get involved in a project, I mean, I don't know who said it, Warren Buffett or whatever, like, you really need to know the fundamentals of something before you go and invest in something. It just makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like when you do that, it reinforces your resolve, and it keeps you there when you have, these 20 and 40 and 50% swings, be it up or down. Like, yeah, we're moving up right now, but we're still gonna see pullbacks, and there's still gonna be days where you're gonna see negative 20%. And granted, the next day it's going to go up, positive 30 or 40%, and then
Right.
people start FOMO buying in again,
Mm-hmm.
trying to, like, but those people, you can tell, either just are brand new, or they actually haven't listened, or they're too touchy, they're too anxious, the anxiety is too high, and they don't. I think that's another reason why I kept, digging like I did, was to calm myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, if you're a day trader, if you're an investor that works in the market every single day, you gotta have, you gotta be anti-emotional, right? You gotta have a thick skin. There's a certain type of
Well,
person that works good in that type of environment, and not everybody does.
and I have sort of identified that, because I possess that, and it's delayed gratification. You have to have that. If you don't have any kind of practice in delayed gratification, you are going to have a very hard time, and you're going to have a very rough time, because my whole life I've had to do that. I've had to wait for things. I've had to wait to watch shows that I wanted to watch because I was raised in a Christian home. So I've had to wait years to even watch something that I've ever wanted to watch. Sweets weren't really allowed in my house, so I've had to wait until I was an adult to even do anything like that. You know what I
Wow,
mean? So
interesting.
all my life I've had to wait, and I've had to,
You had to delay gratification.
yes, big
That's a good
time.
thing. Like,
And
honestly, like, I wish I, I wish I had that. It sounds terrible. I mean, you're probably going
oh,
through
it's
it growing up,
absolutely,
right? But
yeah. But that's what's kept me from selling anything. The only thing I sold was that pocket, because I didn't believe in it, and I
right,
didn't have, and I, yeah, it wasn't so much about the delay of the gratification, but I didn't believe in the project.
yeah.
So, but everything else I've hold on to.
Very interesting. So we got probably about 5 minutes left. Any other experiences that you want to share about, your time in crypto and your involvement with it? I mean, you said that you're passionate with it. Tell me the last person that you talked to about crypto. What did you talk to them about?
Well, it was actually just at work the other day because things we started jumping up above 60K. So obviously I'm excited. So I started talking to some people. There's a guy that I work with. He happened to get into a car accident with an Uber driver, and it was the Uber driver's fault. So he
Oh,
actually he got roughly 300K from that.
oh, he
So
wants to invest. He got some money to
yeah,
invest.
well, I asked him. I said, "Hey, are you, I was like, "Do you have a wealth manager?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm set up with a wealth manager." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Please tell me you didn't put it in no high yield savings account." He's like, and he said, "No, I guess there's whatever. Apparently, there's no crypto involved." But I told him, I said, I'm a crypto guy. I was like, but so like, if you ever want to talk crypto or
Mhm.
anything, so I gave him like, because he asked me, I gave him, my top 5 coins that to have him. I guess his wife is the money person. So I was like, have your wife look at these or whatever. I was like, do your research on them first. But I'm telling you, like things are starting to move. So like, that was the last time I talked about it.
So we talked a little bit about DERO and your cursory knowledge of it. I'm going to just give you a brief overview of what DERO is and what
Yeah.
DERO does, because it is when I first got involved with privacy coins. Monero, of course, was very good because and it works good. Like it's not super fast. It's not the fastest blockchain ever, but it works relatively well. And Monero uses ring CT or ring signatures for its obfuscation. So I don't know if you know this, but Monero is not fully encrypted. It's really just kind of obfuscation what they use. So if you think about, you've seen Three Card Monte, right? You know what that game is.
Uh,
So
I've heard of it.
you got okay. So you got three red solo cups on a table, right? And you put a ball underneath one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the guy shuffles it around and he moves it around. You got to keep track of the ball, right? That's kind of like Monero, but like with 16 cups. So that's what ring CT is. It's obfuscation, but you can still guess one of those 16 that has that
But you're really
transaction.
taking but you're really taking a shot in the dark.
Right.
And if the
You are.
transaction costs are too high, then the probability is low.
Right. So there's obfuscation in Monero. That's what Monero does, and that's how they use. DERO, on the other hand, it uses the account model. So everything is encrypted in DERO. The DERO account balances are encrypted. The DERO
Mm.
wallet is encrypted. Each DERO transaction is encrypted. And DERO uses smart contracts. So DERO is like the Ethereum of privacy coins because we use smart contracts to transact with each other. And in this burgeoning ecosystem of DERO, we have a handful of games that we have to use. We have several different unstoppable applications. So DERO has DERO Web. So you have websites that you can create on the blockchain through a smart contract, and that website can exist in perpetuity forever. And
Mm-hmm. Wow.
you don't have service fees for hosting or domains. And there you can use IPFS. I don't know if you know what IPFS is, but it's an internal.
I do know what IPF is,
Okay.
yeah, for file storage, yeah.
Yeah, so we use IPFS on DeroWeb to be able to host different websites for free on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dero has lots of different capabilities, but it's very young. Its mainnet went live in March of 2022, so it's going to be experiencing 2 years on mainnet just like this month. But like, there's so much promise in Dero that like we're going to be able, and we're already building it. I'm working on projects right now. There's a thing right now called Private Islands. It's privateislands.fund, and it is
Mm-hmm.
a mix of GoFundMe. It's a mix of way that you can subscribe, like a Patreon type of service that's being built, all on the blockchain, all that's peer to peer, and it's all fully encrypted. And so,
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the price chart right now. It looks good. I mean, you are starting to move up, but
right?
I mean, that's very still very low. That's nothing if you zoom out.
Oh, right, exactly. And so, like, this is the thing. Like, all privacy coins are super affordable. So that's a great buying feature for somebody that's new. Okay, take 5% of whatever you're saving every month and throw it into a privacy coin. You know, that's simple advice that I take and I use myself, that I can dollar cost average. So I can buy this stuff and I can build and accumulate over a period of time. I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket, but I'm building a portfolio of something that I believe in because it has a functionality, it has a usefulness to it, right?
Yeah, I like it. I think I might do DERO as my next one, to be honest with you.
Well, I'd love to be able to have another conversation, a month from now, or a couple months from now, and talk about that, because I'm not in the business of selling the blockchain that I'm working on as like an investment. I'm in the business of learning as much as I can and working with the people that are building and developing these tools, and how I can support the user community, because my background is training, communication, program, and project management, and that's what I work on, and how I help and put my hat in the ring with the people in that community.
That's awesome. I like that.
So, any final comments or questions?
Get your moon suit on, brother. Get your moon suit on, man. We're like, men will die, babies will be born.
Right.
It's going to be,
and humanity will move forward.
I agree.
We need to build community. If I learned anything from surviving 2020, is that we all need each other. We need community. We all have common bonds that we have with each other, and we need to build and sustain those links and those bonds as much as we can.
I agree.
All right. Well, if that's it, then we'll leave it at that. It was a great conversation. Great talking with you. I'll look forward to our next interaction and talking with you about reading the DERO chart, or maybe making your first DERO investment. If you have any questions for me, I'm Quest4designs everywhere online, Quest4designs at proton.me. And I am available for you if you have any with about DERO or about anything else as crypto or blockchain. Well, how can people get in touch?
Just real quick, which exchange would you suggest for that? Because I saw that it's on exchanges that I do not belong to.
Yeah, so DERO is very underground. If you have Tether or if you have Bitcoin, you can convert that stuff into DERO, and you could do that on one exchange. There's a DERODEX.net is the decentralized exchange that you can use for all different types of coins to get DERO. Also, the secondary one is TradeOgre, TradeOgre.com. TradeOgre and DeroDex are your main points for you to be able to access DERO. But the DERO wallet, or the Ngram wallet, you can search Ngram wallet and your operating system on your phone, and there's wallets available for different devices that you just search that, and you'll find the GitHub and download those files.
Okay, great. If anything, I'll get with you offline on that.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Great. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye.